Hey guys, welcome to Fight Talk Media. Today is episode 1 of our film study series where we break down film on some of the best fighters in the world, analyzing their skills and techniques that they use to succeed. Today's episode will be about Gervonta Davis, a pay per view star who, in my opinion, has the potential to become a top 5 pound for pound fighter in boxing. I'm going to show you guys 2 fights of his and explain how, in my opinion, he was able to come out victorious in these. The first fight we'll be breaking down is Gervonta Davis versus Rolly Romero, where Davis's boxing ability was on full display against a naturally bigger power puncher in Rolly. The first skill I want to discuss is Gervonta's ability to box defensively on the back foot. So here I'm going to demonstrate some clips to show you guys what I mean by that. See here, Rolly tries to engage with him with the jab, but Gervonta, recognizing this, perfectly times the lateral movement away from Rolly as he tries to throw his jabs out. Another technique Gervonta was using in this fight was trying to control Rolly's lead hand with his own lead hand, messing up his distance as he did here, and also kind of stifling his jab, which overall minimized the amount of jabs landed on Gervonta from Rolly. But this time, he pivots to the left side of Rolly, which here's another technique he was using. He was doing this in order to avoid Rolly's big rear hand, which is his power hand. So, again, it's just another example of Gervonta minimizing damage taken from Rolly while fighting on the back foot. Again, using his lead hand to mess up Rolly's timing and with his own jab, and then he pivots to the left side of Rolly, avoiding that big right hand. Here, does it again, pivots away to the left side of Rolly, does it again. Stifles the jab, baits out the left hook, and slips it perfectly, moving to the left side of Rolly. Whenever Rolly would try to engage with Gervonta, he would time these engagements or these combinations that Rolly would try to throw with movement directly away from him, which made it very difficult for Rolly to get anything off. Does it again, lead hand, blocks it, moves away to the left side. If Gervonta didn't have enough space to move laterally, he would just clinch Rolly when Rolly would close distance on him, which was another technique he would use to minimize taking damage from Rolly. Here's the second skill I want to discuss that makes Gervonta very special, and in my opinion, his biggest asset in fights, and it's his ability to counter with immense power. So let me replay this clip again to show you what I mean. Let's go back really quick. Here, Rolly is about to throw a big right hook to the body, but Gervonta, recognizing this and seeing the opening that it will give him, he decides to catch the punch with his left hand, specifically his left elbow, He catches it and immediately counters with a big left hand. You see Rolly here, he didn't judge distance really well, meaning he's overreaching a bit with that shot. Usually fighters want to start off with the jab to close distance and throw a big shot, but Rolly here decides to lead with a big right hand. Gervonta, recognizing this, that he will be out of range, counters perfectly with the left hand right there. Here's the second counter that led to the ending of the fight, actually. So Rolly here throws a big right hand to the head and throws the same exact punch as the previous clip. He throws a big right hook to the body. Gervonta, recognizing the same exact punch, does the same exact thing. He catches the punch with his left elbow and counters with a big left hand, and eventually leads to Rolly being knocked out in this fight. Here's its slow motion. You see, right here, this is an example of what makes Gervonta so special, what in my opinion separates him from other counterpunchers. He not only has the speed and the timing and the reflexes to recognize the openings, like here with Rolly's right hand being too low to counter, he also has the power to put you away with these counter punches. Boom, boom, right there. The second fight we'll be covering is Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, where again Gervonta displays his excellent boxing ability, using similar tactics that he used in the first fight we covered, but with a slight variation due to the fact that he's fighting a different opponent. I'll show you clips to display what I mean by that. So here, he's constantly moving on his back foot laterally, very similar to the first fight where he used lateral movement to be defensively responsible. It's slightly different here due to the fact that he's fighting a faster opponent. Instead of waiting for Ryan to close that distance and then throw the combination so that Gervonta can time that combination, pivot, or move to his right side, Gervonta instead is constantly moving, not even letting Ryan Garcia get off a combination at most circumstances. This is due to the fact that Ryan is an incredibly fast opponent. He's probably has some of the fastest hands in the sport. So it's very hard to react to those type of combinations. So instead, Gervonta just consistently moves laterally so Ryan doesn't even have a chance to get set and throw his combinations in the first place. Now here I want to display again his ability to catch. Boom. Ryan throws a jab back to back. Gervonta sees that he throws the jab once, anticipate that he's going to throw the jab a second time, then shows off his reflexes, speed, and timing by slipping the punch and countering with a big left hand. Beautiful stuff. Now here, similar to the first fight with Rolly, he uses his lead hand to kind of mess with the distance and the lead hand of his opponent as well. But in this fight, there's a slight variation, and I'll explain that later. But here, he's doing it again using the lead hand. And right here is another example of Gervonta when he has no space to laterally move away from his opponent. He just clinches, which helps him absorb as little damage as possible when he has nowhere to go. This is kind of his fallback plan when opponents are able to close the distance on him and try to land. He just clinches. So here is, in my opinion, the most definitive moment of the fight where Gervonta drops Ryan with a big left hand, and it's again referring back to the lead hand tactic of Gervonta. So right here, he's using the lead hand to press against Ryan Garcia's own lead hand, just like in the first fight. But as I mentioned before, there's a slight variation. This slight variation being the fact that Ryan Garcia has an extremely deadly left hook. And it's probably his best weapon. So Gervonta is using this lead hand tactic to kind of bait out the hook so that when it comes, he knows it's coming and he can slip it. And he does it perfectly here. He baits it out, as you're going to see in a second. He puts his lead hand to bait out the left hook. He slips it. And due to Ryan's own technical deficiencies, where when he throws the left hook, his guard kind of completely disappears. He's able to counter with a big left hand to drop Ryan. So here, boom, right there. Here again is another example of him using the lead hand tactic to try to bait out the left hook. Another example of it, placing it, actually baits it out there. So he tries to slip it. This is actually the moment where Gervonta drops Ryan with a body shot to end the fight. And in my opinion, is another example of his excellent counterpunching ability. So here, boom, right there. Ryan tries to throw a straight right to the head or kind of a straight right hook hybrid to the head, but Gervonta perfectly times this with a sneaky left hook to the body. It's very hard to see.